Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the Portfolio Roast. This is the last one in our portfolios part of the series. We're going to move on to LinkedIn profile next. And it's very exciting having everyone drop their portfolios. And we're going to spend some good time going through like 4 or 5 portfolios as we have time. And yeah, today we have Max, Kathy, and Jenny. Um, if you guys want, you guys can go ahead introduce yourself as people drop any questions they have or their portfolios. If yeah, go ahead, Max, take it over.
Sure. My name is Max Belayev. I'm a product designer at Stealth AI. I am also a cohort student from the cohort 19. So if you have any questions about startup world or any questions about the cohort experience, feel free to ask.
Cool. Hey everyone, I'm Kathy. I am a product designer. I work at Snorkel AI, which is a Series D startup in the data development space. I also worked at Dropbox and recently won a OpenAI hackathon, so I'm super into AI. And I'm also a coach for UX Go for this cohort, based in San Francisco. Off to Jenny.
I think Jen is still wrapping up a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but Jen is a coach at CoCreate cohort, and she's working as a content designer at Meta. So yeah, Jen and Kathy will be your key resources to the most big tech core tips to win the heart of recruiters. Yeah, so we can get started. Let me see. Let me share my share the link. This. So this is from one of our current students. Okay, I'll mute myself and you guys can take over.
All right. I am a little bit familiar with this portfolio. She's one of our students, and I remember I was looking over this portfolio when she was trying to get into the program. So already a little bit familiar with that. Kathy, what's your impression right away?
Yeah, I'm gonna say so. As soon as I see this, I mean, the motions are cool. It stands out, but I'm more so focused on the actual content, like the copy. Like I listen, I empathize, I design. Like that. That is like fluff. Like every designer does that. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. Like I would just take it out. Like either like say something of substance here or don't say anything at all. Because like everything that I see here is like something that like any designer could say. Like UX designer developer, like a lot of designers are technical. From engineering to UX, I use stories, data, and design to create experiences people love and care about. Like that's like what 99% of designers do. So like it doesn't mean anything to me. You're not saying anything of substance, and nothing about like what I see here is gonna make me want to scroll or click on any of your tabs or like interact with the website at all.
I will say that I kind of I can tell you trying to show your value proposition here by saying from engineering to UX. So it kind of does tell me that you're front end oriented, so you can code and stuff like that. But I always try to make whatever I'm trying to say on a website, I'm trying to make it clear over cute. Because when you're trying to sound cute or just whatever enticing, I think clarity, you lose clarity, and portfolio is not the place where you want to lose clarity because you don't recruiters don't have a lot of time to look through it. So I would just rephrase it, and I agree. I don't like the I listen, I emphasize, I design, just because it just doesn't say anything. So I would rephrase this section in a way where it just clearly communicates your value proposition. What kind of companies are you trying to aim for, whether it's big tech, whether it's fintech, whether it's startups, kind of figure out your niche and maybe say something about your front end experience, how many years in UX design you have, something that will tell the recruiter, oh, this is who I'm looking for, or maybe, oh no, this is not who I'm looking for.
Yeah, I really liked what you said about clear over cute, Max. I think clarity is so important. And unfortunately, you're just not at a point where I think there is a certain point where you can be cute, but like you need to achieve clarity first. Like you need to like say something or do something for me to like want to listen to you. And then like you can like add all the like zhuzh it up and like be cute. Like I'm all for it at that point. But unfortunately, you're not at that point. Yeah. Right now.
Good point.
Should we go into like one case study?
Sure.
I think just like adding on to Kathy's point on you're not at the point to make it so pretty. I like the image of like how you're making it, oh look, like here's the in and out and all of that. But as a recruiter, I'm trying to see that image, but then move to the next screen, and I'm not really getting the sense of like what you actually created. I'm looking at the subtext here, which is saying you developed an intuitive pairwise ranking system for fashion apparels and accessories. And I just feel like this is like where intentionality comes in more. Like, are you really trying to show me like the image and the design that you've created, or are you just trying to show me that, ooh, I can do this fancy thing on my portfolio?
Yeah, I agree. I do love personally, I love the interaction. Kind of like throughout the portfolio. It makes, at least on the subconscious level, it makes the portfolio come alive. Now, clarity beats everything. Clarity beats cute, clarity beats interaction, clarity beats sometimes even just like how much work you have done. You can communicate them more clearly in less time. So I would not, so if you have an option to put something super relevant, but it's less interaction, I would make it more relevant versus, having cool interaction, but for the sake of interaction.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's fine if you put like another picture underneath it, maybe to be like, hey, this is like the cover page, and then here's like the images that can support it. Because I have to scroll like maybe on my computer like 2-3 full scrolls until I get to the solution and I can actually see what you're doing. And of course, like if you're just beginning to get into tech or like get into UX positions, people are focused on like what is your process, your thinking, and like how did you land to that decision. But they also want to see like how good is your design, not just like how pretty is it. It's more like how functional is it. Did you consider your problem statement? Did you consider your main objective? And all of those things. So for recruiters, because they'll be looking at it really quickly, you really want to emphasize like, this is what I've done. This is what I can accomplish. These are the things that I have like thought through for me to say, this is the case study I want to showcase as my top one.
One thing I'll say, so my first impression, when I even try to decide which case study to click on, like I want to know if it's an actual project or not. So I know like people do redesigns, and like I don't love those because it doesn't show if you can actually work in a like collaborative setting or not. I know there's like a report on like the top traits that hiring managers look for in designers, and like I think the top one was like ability to collaborate with like engineers and product managers. And so if it's just a redesign, that doesn't showcase that skill at all. And so one thing I was going to say specifically about this was like I couldn't tell right out the bat, like, was this actually put into development? Like, did engineers actually work on this? Because that makes a huge difference. Like, I need to know if you had something on the line or not. Like, was this a project? Was it just a pure like, oh, like let's just design like whatever, and it's not actually going to be put into production? Because like there's a huge difference between that and like something that is actually like going to cost like engineering resources, and you actually have to do like trade-offs and make like business decisions. So you need to like make that. I think this is the latter, but like you need to make that clear like upfront, because you say it's a capstone project, but it's more important for me to know whether it like whether you worked with engineers or not, than for me to know if it's a capstone project or not. So lead with the former rather than capstone project.
On that, like when you scroll all the way to the bottom, or actually at the beginning, like you have background saying this is a group project that was executed in collaboration with the Shopbop Amazon team. And I'm like, okay, like she worked with the team. But then when I go all the way to the bottom, it's like, here are my learnings. I bridge, user needs with business goals by working with like specific stakeholders. I design for real users by like actually interacting with our user base or target audience. And then the last bullet there, which can cover Kathy's question of how involved were you in that development, is like you gained experience developing and deploying the front end, and you deepened your understanding of the lifecycle working with developers. I know you bolded it here, but I think this is where you can think about the story that you're trying to tell with this case study and put it a little bit more up, like in the background, being like, I worked with these type of stakeholders, I work with these types of teams. This is kind of the environment that I was trying to produce this work in, because learnings are great and it is nice to have it at the end to be like, here's the little bow at the end. But because it's a case study and your tag in the beginning says capstone project, I think emphasizing that level of like professionalism from you, as well as just like the amount of work that you were able to achieve in that kind of setting, would be just really great for a recruiter to see.
That's a good point. What do you guys think about in the team section when people put names? I know there's like two different ways. Some people put just the team, maybe 1 PM, like whatever, 4 engineers, 2 designers, 3 designers. You can name the team who you work with, or you can, the other way people do is they put names.
I mean, I have an opinion on it. I think there's not a lot of value in having your team name there, because I don't really know who did what. I'm assuming that the person who created this portfolio is saying my role is UX designer, front end developer, but I don't know who this team is. At this point, I'm also curious, like, is the team including the Shopbot folks, or is it just your core capstone project team members, which is like 4 to 5 students. But again, like we do want to make sure that we're acknowledging the collaboration, making sure that we're showcasing those partners. But I think this is just, it provides detail that I'm not sure how to use.
Yeah, I agree. I was working on kind of a little bit of redesigning my own portfolio, and I was looking at the names, and I was like, how much value is in those names? Unless you work with like Johnny Ive or something, it doesn't really give you any leverage to these are the people I work with. Now, recognition is important, and there's definitely a place for it. But the reason we put the team is to communicate, I guess, the context of the project. And the names themselves just don't communicate the context. For me, it would be important to know, like, are 5 of these are designers? Or maybe you have worked with a PM there. Is there a PM there? Is there an engineer there? Just by putting the position, you would provide so much context on the project itself.
Yeah, you could add into the background section being like, I work with 3 designers, 2 engineers, 1 like, point of contact or POC or subject matter expert from Shopbop. Like you can really highlight the collaborative nature of your work by calling out those like titles. And the titles are not just like, oh, I work with the senior designer. It's more like who did you work with in what specialty and what did you learn from that collaboration? And that's what's important, because if you're really interested in UX and you want to get a job here, a lot of it is working with partner teams, stakeholders, making sure you can manage those relationships and communicate properly and accurately on whatever you're trying to work on, as well as the things that they're considering on their plate, because it is all holistic. Everything's connected. We're all trying to support one ecosystem in a way.
I know we talked a lot about like the content. This is more like visual design. I noticed you justified your text under like process highlight and like at the very top, and it justifying text just makes it harder to read. Like there's weird and uneven spacing, and it shows that you don't understand the fundamentals of typography or readability. I know you didn't do it for the rest of the case study, so that's fine. So I'm like actually curious why you decided to do it there. But yeah, just a small thing to take note of.
Okay. Should we move on to the next portfolio?
Also, just before we move on, talking about small things, the challenge and the opportunity have different line height too. But
Okay.
but yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Huh?
Ready to move on.
Okay. Also, someone in the comments asked some questions related to collaboration. So what are ways people can show collab? And then if junior designers don't really have a real job, how can they show collaboration? So what is you guys' take on that?
Yeah, I can go first. So let me split it up. For people who have been in like a collaborative space where you're working with actual individuals or whatnot, you can call it out like as it is. Say like you worked on designs with an engineer, you try to like QA, implement it, blah, blah, blah. Like you need to be able to describe what your actions were, but also like really relate it to why it was important for you to connect to that person. For example, if you're in like a very like data heavy project, then you should be working with a data scientist or someone who is very in the weeds of like the numbers of what kind of metrics you're working with. And that makes you a stronger collaborator and a stronger project manager for your like project or task, because you identified, I do need to talk to that person and these are the questions that I need to get answered. In this context of a student, it is a little more difficult because let's say you're like, hey, I did a self project, or hey, I worked in a capstone project, things like that. You can still highlight the different resources or the support that you have received. If it was a teacher in like an informatics or ACDI kind of class, you can say, hey, I went for feedback. These are the things that I've gotten feedback on. We asked these specific questions. So that's a way for you to learn and grow with another person's like input and perspectives there as well. If you're working in like a group project, that's already a collaboration. You're working with different types of people, different ways of thinking, and you're all working towards the same goal. So for this example, if you were working with the Amazon team, you can say like, yeah, I worked with the Amazon team to validate and make sure that this is what they're looking for. But I also like really locked into my core team and identified like who, not so much like delegating tasks, because we want to make sure that everyone's collaborative in a way, but being clear on like, what did you do? Who did you talk to? What are you trying to solve? And how did that impact your project at the end? But yeah, definitely collaboration is not just like talking with people. It's a lot about like identifying why you need to talk to those people, or identifying what is the main thing you're trying to get out of that interaction, because we can talk to everyone all the time, but it needs to be really intentional. And that's what UX is about.
Yeah, on the note of collaboration, it ties into another piece of feedback. So overall, this case study seems very cookie cutter. It's like, oh, I did research and then I did affinity mapping and then here are my prototypes. Like that's literally what you call the sections, the section headers. And so whether you wanted to or not, it subtly communicates that like you subconsciously are doing that part of the process just to do that part of the process. Like there's no rhyme or reason as to why you're doing, like the only reason you're doing it is because you were told to, or like that's how you know the design process. And like I'm gonna tell you, real product design is not like that. Like in work, I'm never like, oh, let me do research, and then it just doesn't work like perfectly like that. There's like a reason behind why I pick like certain parts of the toolkit to use those tools, right? Sometimes I like skip research altogether. So like it just shows that like a lack of understanding of like what real product design is. Like I'm not blaming you, like you probably just haven't experienced it. But it's like right off the bat, I can tell like, oh, like you haven't actually worked like in the real world. And so my feedback is to like, you need to show that like you know how to do that. And so one way to do that is like instead of like section headers being like, oh, user interviews, like I would make them much more interesting. Like tell a story. Like that, like I would even make the title like, oh shit, like my engineering didn't agree with me, or like my engineer didn't want to implement this. Like that is like a struggle that a lot of designers will empathize with. So first, you'll get a lot of attention, and second, like it shows that you understand the real messy process of design. Like it's not like one by one, like I'm gonna like carry out this perfect process. Like it's just way more interesting. And then also on the note of collaboration, like there's so many engineers like or like computer science students like at school, like collaborate with them, like do project. They also want like something like under their belt. Like go talk to them, like do like just like build something and like ship it. Like that's already like a much better project than like a redesign.
Yeah, I'm also like such good points from both of you guys. I'm such a huge believer in just finding the people and just build something. Especially if you're in school, you're going to find so many engineers who want to build something because they all kind of like what Kathy was saying, want to put something under their belt, and you want to work on something. Find 2, 3, 4 people and work on something and ship it and take it to 10, 20 people, get the feedback, refine it a little bit more, take it again to the users, and put that. That is so much more compelling, again, as Cassie was saying, than just a redesign. And it's more fun to do too. Redesigns not inherently fun because you're typically not creating anything. But if it's your personal project that you guys chose to do, and there's so much joy and there's so much love in that project, and you're gonna feel it in the portfolio. And also, there's also something to say that portfolio is not only to get you the interview. You're gonna be talking about your portfolio during the interview. So if it's not something that you're proud of or have a ton of joy in or that you love, it's going to translate during interview as well. So just work on something that is super fun.
And on the point of interviews, the portfolio is going to be your like asset there. And if you don't understand it in and out, you're not confident in what you're presenting, you don't understand like some of those edge cases or questions that might come up, you might be like surprised or kind of overwhelmed in interview settings, because it's not a reflection of you didn't do this work. It's more so you haven't thought about certain questions in the way that these interviewers are thinking. And that's where you can see like the different seniorities of this craft. Like what are the kinds of questions they're asking? What are the ways that they're trying to understand your project? And one thing that is really common in interviews is like some variant of what would you change in this project, or what do you wish you could have done in this project? And that's not just a way for you to like say, oh, I could have made this prettier, I could have done this better. Is for you to really take a moment to reflect on your project and say, these are the things that we weren't aware of, or these are the things that I want to focus on more because we've identified these certain things from whatever stage of your project. And when you are in interviews for like I've been on interview panels as well for different levels, and those are the things that you can sense. Like if it's an entry level position, we talk more about the foundational things and how well do you understand. But then when you go up in levels, they're going to talk more about like, how did you deal with ambiguity? How did you deal with complications? What if the engineer said, oh God, we can't do this? And you're like, well, okay, we got to send something out in the next week. How did you manage that kind of struggle? And that's how you show that you are not only good at what you do, but you are like a strong communicator and a strong advocate for your craft as a whole too.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the second portfolio. We have Priya right here. What do you guys think?
Oh, okay. I can't tell if. I mean, I guess it's fine. But then on mobile, no, never mind. Sorry.
I mean, my feedback every time a sentence is fluffy, take it out or come up with something more interesting. I don't like that the resume doesn't take me to a new tab, like it replaces it. So I would have to click the back button. Like that's not good user experience. So either take me into a new tab or show the resume somehow, like in the actual, like through an iframe or something.
Okay, this is just a nit, but I clicked onto your LinkedIn and then I see your LinkedIn profile page. I see your cover photo and I don't understand. And I think that might be negatively reflected on you. And I want to just like highlight that because if you're going to be linking your different accounts, then you need to make sure that everything is ready for someone to look at. If you look at your cover photo, it says bridging research and intuitive design, but the colors don't match. The only color that matches in my brain is research to researcher. So this is just like an example of you need to make sure your whole story is like clear. You like tell the same thing. You're emphasizing like this is the value that I bring, or this is the type of designer that I am, and then it'll just like grab people better like a hook. Also, I think this design is fine, but I just keep feeling like I'm in some kind of dashboard and I don't know how to feel about that. It's fine though, it's very clean.
If you're going for SaaS products, SaaS companies, that's the way to do it.
Oh, they'll love this.
Yeah, just know your customer.
Okay. Should we go into like one case study?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, again, like I know you say this is a capstone project. Like, did you ship it? Like, I need to know because that fundamentally changes how I evaluate this. So make it easy for me to evaluate it. Like first, evaluation in the sense of like whether I should even click on it or not, and then second, like how do I evaluate your entire journey? Like, did you have something on the line, or was this just like a design whatever you want kind of project? Like, I don't know.
Wait, Kathy, how did you see the capstone part? I don't see it on here.
Oh no, in the homepage.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see it now. Yeah. All right. Right. I'm gonna keep scrolling down because some of our audience say that like the people scrolling the mouse not really consistent with the comments. So I'll try to follow you guys.
Mm.
It's very wordy, I think. I feel like I'm reading a research paper, which isn't bad, but I need to know the essence of what you're saying. And even on the homepage, each project has a little blurb of a line, but I just feel like I'm reading a lot.
Yeah, also like so it looks like you had some sort of results. Actually, did you? Okay, well, I would hope you have metrics. I mean, I know that's like a whole point of tension for students because you don't, or like early career designers, like you don't have metrics, but like your final prototype and your results should always be at the top. Like never make the assumption that somebody is going to scroll all the way down like on your case study because people might not and they just miss it completely. So that's one thing. Don't make that assumption. And then lead with like the most interesting thing so I can actually see like what you did and not kept guessing. And then my thought process should be like, oh, like this is cool. Like I wonder how this person actually like what was the behind the scenes, right? Whereas for this, you're kind of like giving me the behind the scenes, and then at the end, you're like you did the big reveal. So The analogy I'd make is like when you're watching a really good TV show, like obviously you want to watch a show first, and then like the YouTube videos are like, oh, behind the scenes, like this is like what happened, or like what the actors are thinking about. Like, yeah, you're basically doing the opposite. You're like, this is the behind the scenes. Like, I don't care. Like, I want to know, like, I want to watch the show first. Like, I want to see what was the final result, like everything that you produce, like all the beautiful, like prototyping, and then I want to see like, okay, how did you get there?
Yeah, I think it goes from like, here's the context of the project, here are my research goals, boom, solution. This is all I've like designed as a solution. Here's all the things why I'm explaining this is the right solution. But then you go down and then test summary results come up too. And I don't know why this is in a carousel. I feel like you might do better with it individually shown. And then it says what worked well, areas for improvement, and then the project ends. I feel like that was just very abrupt. Like, I'm not really sure exactly like what I'm supposed to take away from this. And then when I click next, because I kind of thought that maybe it would have more about this project, it's actually to a broken website. So make sure you check on that. But I think to Kathy's point, like I'm not too clear, like, what did you accomplish? I see that there's a lot of work and a lot of details in here, but I really want to know, like, so what did you do? Like, what is the end? Like, what kind of metric or what kind of value did this redesign influence? And then one last nit, on the way bottom on the footer, it says, like, do you have any project idea you want to discuss about? Contact me. I don't think any recruiter is going to be contacting you like this unless you are like a freelancer or a contractor. I think you can just repurpose this or like write a different kind of hook in here, because I don't know how many contacts you get either on this. So if I'm wrong, then feel free to do as you are.
Cool. Then if that's done, we can move on to the next portfolio because we're a bit behind on time for this one. Okay, one of our students, Alex.
Yeah, for context, so Alex is my student, and for context, he said to go hard on his portfolio. So don't hold back, you guys. He said the spiciest, please. I need to be humbled. Quote verbatim.
He's quaking right now.
I love it. Love it.
Okay, like I like your self-intro tag on the top left, but then I don't know what these images are, or like those text icons are doing. I think it's supposed to be like cool and boppy and stuff, but I don't know if it actually does what you want it to do.
Yeah, I was a little, like, again, it's like that balance, right, between clarity and poppiness and looking awesome. Like, it looks amazing, looks awesome, really cool visuals. But it also took me a second to realize it's actually a portfolio that you can click on and then go, or like a case study, I mean. Yeah, so maybe do something to communicate more clearly would be better.
Yeah, somebody should be able to come in and like, without even clicking into a case study, be able to tell like what kind of designer you are or like the work that you have produced. And I can't really tell. So I want to see like screenshots or prototypes. Yeah, I think this is a case of like sacrificing functionality for like visual judge. So I can tell like you're really into the visual like identity and like visual design, but you can't sacrifice functionality. So that also like makes me a little concerned. Like if I were to put myself in the shoes of a hiring manager, like, oh, is he gonna sacrifice like functionality for like visual design?
Yeah, I think like looking at your description, you say I'm Alex, a product and brand designer focusing on yada yada. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think product and brand designers, they're kind of feels like very different to me. So if you were going for, and maybe that's the conflict you have inside yourself, so you haven't decided what exactly you want to be. But if you're going for brand designer, I think this portfolio actually looks cool. and it more aligns with the brand designer. But if you're going for product designer, it doesn't really match. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of like if you are going to brand yourself as a UX designer versus a UI designer, sometimes like depending on what kind of team or project needs you have, you could be doing both, but you can also specialize in one or the other. And in this case, I feel like I think you're a product designer, but then there's a lot of brand focus, like making things really pop. So I'm a little confused. And also, I see that on the mobile version, I assume it's a different format than this one. I'm just curious why there's that like difference. Like it says about resume and contact, but then if you go to the desktop mode, it has all of your things. I think what you're intending to do is show like, hey, I have all these projects here. But to Kathy's points as well, like I don't know exactly which project I need to be clicking on either. And on desktop, you have to hover over each box to see like what the title is in a way, like what are the things you did, like, oh, this is a website revamp, while that one's a visual design. But the mobile actually shows that tag here. So I think there are ways that you can make the recruiter's job easier on how to navigate your website, as well as getting those pieces of information that you want to highlight.
Mm.
Also,
Also,
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, small thing. Just check the latency. There's a lot of flashing visuals and videos like put into this homepage. I wonder how well it's going to fare if someone has like a slower computer or slower internet. Maybe it's like not the best signals, and then they kind of like rage exit your portfolio because they couldn't get what they needed. Go ahead, Max.
True. A small thing, but the same thing as the last portfolio. When you click on the resume, it opens in the same tab instead of a new tab.
Yeah.
One thing for me, so to Max's point, like about the brand designer, so I get what you're saying, but you're stretching yourself too thin. Like I see a lot of early career designers like on their portfolio saying, I'm a designer and an illustrator, like and a photographer and a front-end developer, and here are my like 5 other hobbies. I'm like, you guys, like it looks like you're having an identity crisis. Like whether that's your intention or not, like that's what it looks like. And that, keep in mind, that is your first impression for a hiring manager. So like what you need to you need to make it very clear, like this is my primary, like my primary is product design, like that's what I'm going for, right? I'm not like, my attention is not split. I know what I'm looking for. Like you need to communicate that very clearly. Like I think it's very much okay for your secondary to be brand design, or like know your own strengths and superpowers and be like, hey, like as part of like product design, I know I'm very strong in visual identity, or I know I'm very strong when it comes to branding. Like that's fine, but that it needs to be a very clear hierarchy. Like product design is my main, and like these are like my strengths or superpowers that contribute to that. You cannot put them at the same level.
Yeah, like in a video game, you got your main tree, and you can have like subset of skills, and you can grow everything independently. But you are in like design, and of design, are you product, are you visual, brand? You could be even like physical design, or like there are things where you design physical stores, like how are people navigating it, how are the different tags and coupons available. So making that distinction really clearly on your front page is just, it's really powerful, because recruiters can identify you like in 1 second.
Let's move on into one specific case study then.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, somebody dropped a good question. I think they also submitted a portfolio too. They ask, how do you balance scannability with explaining your design process in portfolio case study? With something like a short video demo of the final product on key contributions, pair with like a full case study PDF, help strike that balance? Or do you find other formats work a bit better?
I like GIFs. I think it's nice to pair them with an explanation on the side, whether it's like each screen does whatever, and then people can really just see it in motion, especially as a designer or prototype designer. Even interaction, like you can tell, like, are they thinking about how the different screens are going to work together and stitch together? Are they thinking about mobile versus desktop design? I don't know about having a full case study PDF. Just have it in a secondary button somewhere that people can look at if they want. But I've also had a candidate once for an internship position show us her PDF, and it was a very long interview session because she was kind of scrolling over everywhere, and we're trying to like pinpoint the different types of information we want to ask her about. So PDF is okay as a secondary backup, but make sure that you're really highlighting those key points. Yeah, video demo is fine, but then if you're using YouTube or whatever like video integration, just make sure it loads properly because some don't load. I don't know why.
Cool. So apparently, the reason why I picked this one, even though it's like a website experience and it's not really UI, UX, like what people really look for, is because this is the only working link in everything that on Alex's website. So, yeah, that's a mini red flag. So say, I think I click on here or something, and it took me to the 88 Rising thing, case study. So I think that might be a mistake, but yeah, just be careful of that next time.
Ooh, also, I clicked Blaze AI from the homepage and it took me to Blaze AI website. That tells me nothing. I don't know if that was intentional, but I wanted to know about your project rather than go to their published site. Now I'm gonna just check everything. Check on your links because some of them are broken. As Min said, I don't know if the publication didn't go through. Oh, when you click the homepage card for Blaze AI, it also takes you to their main page. Yeah, just check on your details, make sure things are okay. The more back and forth you have with your recruiters is more time that you could be spending either preparing for interviews, applying for different jobs, and things like that. So we want to make sure that we cover all of our bases and then present ourselves really strong.
I want to see like the like these are good visuals, but like what did you design? Like what is the final like output? Like I want to actually see the final website because I like all of these are like kind of like standalone to me. I'm like I don't know like where this actually goes, or like I have no context for this. So I want to see like the actual final like website. And yeah, I do want to see the process. So it seems like at the end you're like, oh, if you like the full story twist turns and aha moments, let's hop on a quick call. Like I feel like you should like talk about some of that at least on the actual case study.
I feel like there's a lot of visuals of like 88 Rising and like a lot of their promotional content. But to Kathy's point, I just really want to see your work. I think a lot of it is like, ooh, this is so cool. These are the types of things that they do. But then, yeah, like I don't know what you did to the website. Also, if you're doing a redesign, it's really good to have the before and after together. Just for like either a side-by-side comparison or for you to like highlight by annotations of this is why we changed this is why this moved over there. We're able to see like what your thinking process is rather than here's this end result that's all sparkly and pretty and I have nothing else to say about it because I did the work. Like no, like why? Like what is the why is the how, and even like what's the value? Why did it matter to anyone for you to be doing this?
Yeah, one thing I wish I saw more in this portfolio, I wish it were more personal because like product design is a very personal thing, but I feel like a lot of this you're kind of talking in like third person. You're not talking specific. Well, one, I want it to be more personal because I don't want to be bored. Two, I want it to be more personal because I want to know actually like what you did. I think it's always a little bit of a red flag when you name the team. Like there's a bunch of people on the team and you don't specify exactly what you did. Then I'm left wondering like, okay, like are you just like taking ownership of like what other people did? Like I don't know, and unfortunately you don't have like the space to like answer my question. So I'm probably, as a hiring manager, like I have like these days they go through so many portfolios, I'm probably just going to assume the worst and move on. And so that is not going to play out in your favor.
Yeah, like the role has product designer. Okay, wait, I think the spacing too, the spacing was a little odd for me because I had it split screen. But that too, that's kind of weird. If you have it in like mobile form, then it works. Weird. Anyways, I've seen like you're a product designer, you're a prototyper, you're a facilitator. I don't know what you facilitated. I feel like that could be taken out, honestly, and you just like emphasize what kind of things that you've helped facilitate in the project itself. And this might be a nit, but it says client and 88 Rising mock. I don't know if that's necessary. I feel like because this is like a passion project in a way, I don't know. Like, I don't know what that's telling me. I kind of can like read between the lines and understand it, but maybe just take it out because they're not really a client. I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, is that what that means? That it's not, it's like a passion project?
That's what I'm understanding it as.
Yeah.
I think on the homepage so far, every projects that Alex put on here are either capstone or personal projects. There's like a category tag for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see real world projects. I mean, I know you're working on one right now. But so that's good news. But yeah, I want to see a real world project. Like I don't want to see redesigns or like mock clients. Like, yeah, it doesn't give me a sense of how you would actually operate like in the real world. Oh, and one more thing. Okay, so to answer the original question, I actually did have an answer for the scannability versus explaining. So my hot take is I feel like, well, okay, looking at Alex's portfolio, I feel like the writing is like better than most portfolios that I've seen. Here's me saying something nice for once. Because my hot take is that I feel like people say that your case study shouldn't be long. But so I feel like that's because people don't know how to be engaging. Like if you know how to be engaging, you like people will keep reading like all the way to the end. So it'd be the equivalent of me saying like to an author, like, don't write a long book. Like, no, like authors are gonna write long books because they know people will keep reading. Like they have good content. And for some reason, I don't see a lot of good writing in like early career design portfolios. And my hot take is like you have ChatGPT. It's not like there's no excuse for poor writing. Like, come on, just like all you have to do is copy paste and feed it into ChatGPT and you'll like immediately get like 10x better results. So no room for typos, no room for like poor writing. So you have to step it up.
Yeah, back in my day, we had to do it by hand with our brains, just sitting in a room. But now you have tools, whether it's readability, like ErnestHemingway.com can help you just understand like how simple is the language. Is it just too complex for the sake of being complex? Like we're not in an English class, we're not in a literature class. We don't have to use all of these like descriptive, amazing, spectacular words. Like we need to be really focused. And like grammar, typos, things like that, it does reflect on you. It either reflects on your attention to detail, it reflects on like what is the quality of work that you're producing. And if you like, I understand as a content designer, there are certain things that like words can kind of go everywhere and you don't know how to really reel it in. Just take away all the words and think about like what is your main point of the sentence, and then when you get from there, just expand and add a few words into it to make sure that it's clear. We talked about this in one of our previous sessions, but there's a difference between being brief and being concise. Like just because you reduce the amount of words does not mean the amount of understanding goes up. You need to be very like clear, concise, intentional with the writing as well, so people can really connect the dots and say, oh yeah, like Alex was talking about this, like I understand where he's coming from.
Good point. I think overall, Alex, you have a strong UI, it seems like, and at least visual, not sure about UI, but the visual part. And you're leaning more towards the brand. So if that's the direction you want to go in, then definitely capitalize on it. And if not, just separate so clear UX design skills, and then as a treat, as something that you're also really, really good at, with brand design on the side.
Mhm.
And also kind of figure out what kind of companies you want to go for. I would imagine that something like a startup would be interested in a brand designer who is also a brand designer. But if you're trying to go for big tech, again, not sure how valuable it's there, because they already have brand designers.
Okay, let's move on to one last portfolio, and then our audience can keep dropping like cool questions in the comments. And thank you so much for you guys taking the time to answer any community questions. So I think I spot this really interesting design right here. So it can be like a refresher from more like corporate kind of like sans serif fonts and stuff. This is Samuel.
Honestly, first take, I'm having a good time. I think it's very unique. It looks fun. It's very organized. I love the fact that you have these tags underneath the title of the project to highlight like specific things that you've done, or like specific, like, a designer who knows SQL, React, full stack, all of those things is like, oh, like I wonder what they did. And then when I go down, it's like, oh, okay, so the Flydex app, they're focusing on UX research, wireframing, blah, blah, blah. Of course, there is that like thing of, am I using too many buzzwords for the sake of buzzwords? So you need to like take a look at your project and make sure like this is what you focused on, like the core concepts that you've practiced in that kind of task. But overall, I think this is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the visual design. I feel like it communicates that you're not. I feel like there's so many, because like with like V0 and like the prototyping tools these days, like everybody has the same visual style. And on top of that, and even before like AI, like I feel like a lot of UX design like in the industry is like starting to converge. Like there's like no like creativity or like no deviance in terms of visual design. So it's good to see that like you're like willing to like stand out and like have like your own visual identity.
Yeah, and it's consistent throughout the different pages, which is really nice. Like you're not just thinking about making the homepage the prettiest, you're thinking about the whole experience of this website. Oh, there's a little bee. Sorry, I got this. When you go to the work tab, there's a little bee as your cursor, and that's so cute.
We're having a blast here.
Yeah,
This is so
we're
fun.
having like, ooh.
I'm gonna go into one case study. Okay, Samuel say it's hand coded. The portfolio, I think.
Let's go.
Kudos to you. Okay, I think I'm gonna hop into one case study. Maybe the
Mhm.
PackLab app, visual inventory application for hobbyists.
You're gonna have so much fun right now.
Okay.
Click on it. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is very neat. I'm like just swishing my mouse back and forth.
No, for sure.
Ooh, and I also wanted to share for the folks on the call, like we're having a good time with this website and it is hand coded, but like if you are not comfortable, familiar with coding, don't put like the undue stress of, oh, I gotta code my own website. This is just like the little fun bits of like delight that Sam has put into his portfolio, and that just brings up conversation starters or more interest. So you can find those opportunities in your website, and just try not to be so cookie cutter about the templates that are there, because recruiters can really tell. When you're looking at 20 plus a day, you're like, oh gosh, they're using that template again from Canva or something.
I like the context. I haven't read through it, through all of it. But I like when people give context to the project or whatever they're working on. And then project overviews on the right side is also pretty neat with the bullet points.
Yeah, I really like that.
Mhm. Whatever you can make to not make me think, this is great.
I wish you had a link to the actual thing. Like, I would want to just like, oh, actually, you do. I didn't see it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it has some kind of sign in like wall. So maybe it'll be good to just make sure the visuals are there.
Yep, I cannot click on the demo. So
Oh, there's a demo?
Yeah, you can't
yeah,
click
in the
on it.
website, but I cannot click on it. I don't think it's a hyperlink.
Listen, I'll go through the sign up process. I'll commit.
I will say this is a solid case study if you're like looking to be like the founding designer at a startup, or just like any startup, because they really emphasize like velocity and the ability to be like hacky, and like you clearly built this as like some because you wanted it for yourself. So that's great. Like you have the drive and motivation to do that. So if that's what you're aiming for, that's great. But if you're aiming for big tech, like you're gonna need some like at least like I know you built this for yourself, but like there's still other people. You're not literally not the only person in the world who would like use this, right? So you need some like research and like it'd be great to see like some like metrics. For instance, like I know Meta really emphasizes like having business metrics. So I mean I assume this is something that's still ongoing or that you still use. So like you could totally just go like conduct some user research, talk to people, even have quotes. Like that's an easy way to like have some like social proof that like people actually like this. I think a lot of times like students or early career designers freak out because they're like, I don't have any metrics. Well, one, like metrics are just social proof that like it worked. Or like you made some sort of impact. One way to show that is to like have quotes. Like if you have a solid quote, somebody like, oh, like I actually like use this every day, or like, oh, this is like really impactful for me. Like if you have some sort of quote, like even that, like that's good. Like that shows me that you have social proof and that you made an impact in somebody's life. Like that's already like a thousand times better than like people who like don't have any metrics or any results like whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Also, like towards the end on the takeaway, your last bullet is like you're building something that you'd actually use, which means that you could test it and iterate naturally through development. So you can highlight those information, like the metrics that you might have, like how many people got it, what is the use rate, blah blah blah. Like it helps us understand like what is that like breadth of work and what is the reach of that work. And I'm also wondering, like, now that I've kind of read through the project, I think this is neat, but I don't know if you're going for a product design role, if this should be your top project, because your deliverables talk a lot about like the technical architecture and the authentication system, which is very cool, very technical. And then you talk about the key features of backend and front end, and the design highlights are essentially like you repurposing your inspiration from the game design and putting it into this kind of concept and purpose, and being like, here are the org-based UI, the custom categories, visual filtering, component architecture. Those things are pretty simple in nature, and I want to know more about like why you landed on certain things. Why would you do it in that way? How did you reach these categories? What is the visual filtering? All of those things, which really change up like how is the visual design and the UX design of this website. So yeah, I don't know if this should be at the top. I'm very curious about your other projects now.
Okay. Seems like this portfolio builder has some initial success because I don't think we ever really like compliment any portfolios until now. So this is really great job. Yeah, and I think this will conclude like the portfolio review session, and we can like stay like 5 minutes for like any Q&A from audience. And I think people submit some really good questions too. So I think someone asked, okay, Sable, how would you navigate a design project that is under NDA from your employer and you cannot show the prototypes?
Mm. Yeah, I have one now, and yeah, I just say that it's under NDA. NDAs can be different, so you have to clarify exactly what kind of NDA it is. There's sometimes where you can maybe talk about it vaguely, maybe what you have done, the thought process. There's certain things you can talk about. There's certain things where like super strict. Probably if you work for Apple or something, you can't even mention anything what you're working on. So obviously then it's pretty challenging, and you have to just be like, hey, this is the kind of the nature of the project, but then if you want to hear it, you have to. Yeah, I don't know. Danny, how does it work? If you have super strict NDA, you cannot even talk about it during interviews?
It's like your mileage may vary based on the like criteria and the rules that were set in place by that employer. Like sometimes they're like, hey, instead of using 10%, say a few people, like a few participants would do whatever. A lot of the NDAs are just for business goals as well. So they just don't want a lot of their business secrets or performance metrics to be getting out. If in this case, like you can't show your prototypes, I'm very curious if that's because the prototypes are something that they have said is like company property, or if it's because they're about to launch it soon. Because if it is about to launch it soon, you can just be like, hey, it's about to launch soon. I can share you like, as Max said, like certain concepts or certain things that we have done. And then when it does launch, I can show you more about it. But ultimately, NDA or not, what interviewers are trying to look for is what did you do? Why did you do it? And how did you accomplish that? So if you can kind of take away the details and the layers of branding, the product, the different business things that you were considering, it might make it like rinsed and like filtered enough for you to be like, hey, this is what I've accomplished. Like for the prototype, I created it for 3 different screens, da da da. So the details can help you tell the story a little better.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm like even thinking right now, if you remove yourself from the company itself, right, then you can maybe talk even more in terms of details, right? Because you're not directly affiliated with the company or whatever.
It depends. Again, with the NDA, there are like things where like they might just say, hey, try not to share these metrics or try not to share these Excel docs. But if it is like a work that you have accomplished or you have done certain back end work on it, you can show that thought process and be like, oh, and the final product, is under NDA, but I hope this kind of showed you like what I have accomplished and like how I approach this problem.
Yeah, my personal experience, like working with the startup right now, I signed the NDA and then I was like, okay, how do I show my work here? So I talked to the founder and he was like, hey, no problem at all. Just like if you want to talk about it during interviews, that's fine. We just don't want to release something. I don't want you to release something into the world that we haven't released as a company yet. Cool. Perfect. So I guess there's this different nature of NDAs.
Yeah, ask the person that you work closely with, like whether it's a mentor, advisor, manager, just get some details there and then make the best decision from the information you have.
Great. I think we have one more question. If your product got shelved, what business metrics do you mention? So basically, is it like, does shelf mean like archived or like is no longer active, but it was there for quite some time? Like, do you guys know this term?
I mean, if it's been there for quite some time, do you have the metrics from then?
I think it maybe means you were working on it and it didn't get shipped. Maybe.
Could be, yeah.
Like instead of shipping it, they put it on the shelf.
Yeah, I think then it's about the objectives and the business goals that you were trying to achieve. Like you talk about like you wanted to do like this kind of increase and that's what you've worked towards. If the product didn't get launched, that's not a reflection of like you didn't do quality work. Of course, caveat, like I don't know what quality work you're doing, but things happen, business directions shift, and it's really about like, did you take the problem statement and try to make it into a solution? But yeah, I've had internship projects that didn't launch and I was I was like, oh man, but I was still able to tell that story because I had the metrics of what I was basing things off of and the research that I've done. So there are things that I could be using in lieu of the business metrics.
Yeah, some metrics to get, I mean, like I said, like metrics are just like social proof. So it doesn't literally have to be like quantitative. Like you can have quotes of people saying like, oh, like this is good. If you don't have that, just show it to somebody and get a quote. Like obviously ideally in your like target like persona or user or demographic, like just get a quote, like, or like get a quote or 3 quotes, you know, like that's a very easy way to have social proof and have some sort of like, yeah, just some sort of like showing of impact. Another one that I talked about in a previous session is like, how many JIRA tickets did you create? Like based off of like the design process or like the findings from research, right? Like that's like a more like something you can control. And like I feel like a lot of designers don't even think to do that, like quantify like the like internal processes and how you contributed to that, or like what percentage of people you like interviewed and research like felt like a certain way. SUS score, CSAT, like those are also ways, like easy ways to get like metrics. Like I've done that in like user testing or user interviews. Even if I just talk to 5 people, I'm like, oh, we achieved like a customer satisfaction score of like over like 8 out of 10, or I think it's out of 5. But yeah, that's like that's like entirely within your control. I know like business metrics can be sometimes hard to get because it's like, oh, it's like based on the business and like some like NDA issues, all of that. But like things that are more under your control, like system usability scale score, CSAT, that those are literally just like a couple of questions you can ask somebody within a span of like 5 minutes in user testing and get metrics right away for your case study.
Cool.
Super
I think
cool.
that's all the questions we have for today. And thank you, coaches, for your time, and also Max, our alumni, for your time. If you want more like tailored guidance from like our coaches, Kathy has one-on-one sessions where you can book her. And yeah, if you want to sign up for an internship where you get guidance from Jenny or Kathy, it would be cohort 20. Is it cohort 21? Yeah. We're opening applications, and if you checked our LinkedIn, we have information on there. So yeah, I think we're gonna end the stream right now, but see you guys next week for a LinkedIn profile roast. Yeah, so hopefully it will help you in some sort of way too. So bye everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.